Hi, folks. This is Colin Richards here, and it's great to be with you on Lord and Richards Radio. And today we're going to be digging into a biblical principle found in the book of Proverbs, chapter 15. And as we look into this principle, it's really going to reinforce what our core values are at Lord and Richards, where we try to help you achieve financial independence from a biblical point of view. And the reason we do that is we want you to be able to do amazing things for God with the bountiful resources He's placed at your disposal. And so today we're really asking, according to Proverbs, when is enough enough? Listen to what Solomon had to say. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble with it. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a fattened ox and hatred with it. So really a contrary view to what mainstream society would tell you today. It's always better to have more, always better to have bountiful feasts of food than to eat a salad, right? Unless you're a vegetarian. So sometimes, number one, we assume that having a lot is an important part of financial independence and security. And let me just say, I'm not downplaying income and the need for that. But would it surprise you to know that the clients I'm seeing every day who have a great deal very often have the same financial issues as those with a little? We're seeing the need for the same kind of planning, whether it be income planning, risk management, tax planning, health planning, and so on. So the truth is that it comes down to how much you spend, not how much you earn when determining whether you're financially independent and secure. It comes down to what you spend. And I've talked about that in other sessions. The key is, are you living within your means? And during your working years, are you saving plenty so that you have other dollars to live on later on in life? But even having a lot and keeping expenses under control can still lead to unhappiness and insecurity. You say, well, how is that? I mean, if I have a lot and my expenses are under control, why would I be unhappy about that? Well, sometimes the people who amass the most are under significant stress and they have to make decisions about what to prioritize in life so that they can earn that large amount. Those decisions, that stress that leads to great wealth can result in a life you would gladly trade for somebody else's. Isn't that interesting? I often see it. We know as Christians that the Bible tells us money isn't going to be the source of happiness. That's found in God. Often, wealth brings a measure of trouble you'd rather avoid. Now, we see this caricaturized in things like the lottery, right? People win a big amount, and suddenly they've got all kinds of trouble. They want to be anonymous. They don't want to tell people because they got people beating down their door. But for others, it may mean a focus that is really out of alignment. Sometimes those who amass great amounts of money find that they have fewer true friends and more hatred, the way the proverb puts it, more hatred than if they had pursued a simpler life, more enemies. Isn't that interesting? So those who really pursue wealth and accumulate a great deal of it often would be in a better place in terms of their personal happiness if they had pursued a simpler life. You know, they may have lots of social connections, parties, toys, what the Proverbs call a fattened ox, right? That's what they would whip out in Bible times when it was time to celebrate, feast, eat, drink, be happy. But what is the quality of their relationships with their family and friends? Do their children, does their wife love and respect them? Many times I encounter extremely wealthy people with families that have literally fallen apart, with very few relationships, people that they know they could say they love them no matter what. So what it comes down to in Proverbs is this key. It comes down to pursuing two vastly more important goals, right? So the first proverb says, the fear of the Lord. And the other says, better a dinner of herbs or a salad where love is. So the fear of the Lord and love. Number one, the fear of the Lord. This is not merely the concept of cowering before His awesome majesty, which of course any of us would do if we were in an encounter with God. We would not survive it because of His holiness. But the fear that the proverb is talking about, the fear that Solomon is talking about, is based on a love relationship with God, the unique reverential awe that only His people have for Him. I call it fear of ruining or damaging the relationship. Fear of damaging the relationship. Do you have that kind of relationship with God? Do you have that kind of personal relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ? Secondly, love. The proverb tells us it would be better to eat herbs and salad all the time as opposed to feasting like kings if it leads to true loving relationships. I think we know that's the case. But very often we set our course and we point our direction in the opposite. We pursue the money, the things, the wealth. I can honestly say this. If I were forced to choose, I would rather live in a one-bedroom apartment with my family of 6 who love me than a palace without that same love. And as a matter of fact, we have had times where a one-bedroom apartment would have been an upgrade. We lived in a motorhome in a parking lot that we borrowed from my parents-in-law during a period of life when we had no place else to stay. And that was a time during which we saw God really work in our lives and where our relationships grew closer. And so, folks, better it is to have a little with the fear of God. Better it is to have a little bit of food like a salad where love is than to have great treasure or a fattened ox and to have trouble and hatred with that. So perhaps you're saying today, well, Colin, that really is my priority. It's where my family is. We want to prioritize love, relationships, our relationship with God and one another. And we're willing to make sure that with those things at the priority, having a ton of money doesn't become number one. Now, whether you have a ton of money or not, you can still prioritize the fear of the Lord and relationships. And so what we do at Lord and Richards is we're talking to people just like you who are worried that things out of your control are going to damage your portfolio, are going to damage your retirement future. And so we build a plan for you to achieve financial independence so you can enjoy retirement without worry from a biblical point of view. All it takes is a simple phone call.